But yeah, I'm just surprised that the Swain didn't end up moving a little bit sooner. His now, Jana, no flash.
Heal, flash, auto attack, first blood. Froggy is the one to pick that one up, and Evelyn Bot is in the area. Descent does drop the Rift Guard. They're going to look to engage. It's going to be a Cataclysm getting dropped down, but Vagar got pulled into the Cataclysm, which could be trouble.
Ooh.
Down goes Evelyn Bot. Down goes the Vagar as well. Hugs Descent and the support on the one side, but they're going to be the ones to get engaged on. Ultimate coming off for the Malphite onto the Vagar, but the Vagar is still okay for right now. He's going to try to flash the rest of his team as Evelyn Bot is on the look. The Caitlyn was left all alone on the backside, and no free hugs is now left all alone with everybody else from Farmingdale.
That's game!
Both of them are level 4. No Zillion bombs are available right now, which means French Delta Force is going to be able to get in. There's the flash, but the flag and drag lands, and El Unicornio in a lot of trouble. French Delta Force not able to get the kill. That one's going to go over to Huracan. Vagar doesn't quite know where he is. Has spotted him out. Here comes the Jarvan over the wall. Multiple members over the wall now as they're trying to get as much damage as possible. French Delta Force able to get the first kill. Now, bearing down on to the Xayah. They are going to get revived by the Zillion, but weak side. It just means they're a sitting duck to give more kills.
There's nothing.
Everything.
Yeah, they quite literally.
Malphite getting in there on multiple members here. Weak side is now starting to join the fight here. Somebody's in stasis, somebody's resurrecting, but it doesn't just matter. They're just all meant to die to Vagar. It's a double kill for weak side, a double kill for French Delta Force. They get a kill back.
Leave the old man alone!
But they are going to be able to close out onto the Zillion. The cherry on top for Froggy and Farmingdale State College.
Holding on to this stock at 160.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are just decently heavyweight. Gonna be seeing very large percentages. And the back ear from Matt Thad managing to take it right there.
I see it too. Oh, good forward air tipper there. Hope should be able to recover from this unless you get countered. Dags with a huge opener there.
But Splat says, listen, I need you to get right back off stage. It's nice that you want to get here. You gotta go.
And the block, I think, actually helps Splat there. Again, falling because the second hit. Hello everyone and welcome back to the ECAC SSBU action about to be underway. My name is Soy, alongside me is Kilo Miles, and we are ready for some Super Elite Series SSBU action week 1. Miles, how's it been?
It's been a great offseason. There have been a lot of developments, and first and foremost, you gotta look at this Kean roster. Coming up here, they've changed a lot of things up, and to change your roster a ton from the roster that got you top 8 in the ECAC last year, all of a sudden, you're in the Super Elite. That's got to be a lot of pressure on these new players. Meanwhile, Delaware, strong as ever. Still, I mean, they're the team that gave Fisher a run for their money, and now they're here once again. Same roster, same strength, and we'll see new versus old who comes out on top.
It's going to be a fun series, that's for sure. Like you said, Delaware was a team that made it all the way to top 4, but fell to Fisher in that semifinal, went on to play in that third versus fourth place match, and they really gave Fisher a run for their money. These are some talented players and what feels like a very expertise roster. Players like MPG that we'll see later on the Mega Man, Percy, on the Bayonetta, and I believe Swift has been locked in as the opening member for the Delaware Blue Hens on the Sheik this time around. Kean's going to have their hands full this series.
And meanwhile, Kean, their main returning member is JP on that Ness. But everyone else, as far as we know, they're coming out of nowhere. They are the new blood who's looking to take some names here in the first week of the ECAC Super Elite. Now, this Sheik versus Ness, if that is indeed the matchup we're going to be seeing, has me scratching my head a little bit. The perennial wisdom, in my opinion, is that if Ness is going in the air, you want to be on the ground throwing out tilts. If Ness is on the ground throwing out tilts, you want to be in the air falling down on top of him. And I feel like if anyone has the maneuverability, the deceptiveness to sneak under that, it's gonna be Sheik. Additionally, with the downward slanted needles, she's gonna have a lot of ways to mess with his recovery. And that's the problem with Sheik. On paper, she's really good in every matchup. We'll see how that turns into practice here against JP.
It's a matter of execution. Swift has typically been pretty good at it, but hasn't had a ton of chances to shine in the spotlight because Delaware's lineup just has so much depth. And like we mentioned, a couple of those other players have been very keen to take a couple of extra stocks, and you sometimes don't get to see the full lineup. That's why they were so powerful entering that previous playoff series. But Kean, no slouches themselves. They made top 8 with a big win over LIU in the opening round, but they also ran into a Fisher squad in that next quarterfinal. So they have gone up against some of the best in the ECAC, and like we mentioned, this is a mostly new lineup this split for this squad. So it's going to be, out of the out of the frying pan into the fire here for this roster as we get things ready. We don't know exactly who the depth of this lineup plays, but it is interesting that Kean are leading with the kind of go-to player, the one that we know best and the one that other teams have had the chance to look at, this JP on the Ness. And JP has had some good results for this team in the past.
He has been a very consistent player who I feel like is someone with experience is who you want to open up with. You don't want to start someone out cold who's not just coming out cold to this series, but also cold to this format altogether. You want someone who can lead with experience and calm, and even if JP goes down after only taking 1 or 2 stocks, they're still going to give an opening. Someone's still going to go into that player knowing what character they're going to face. And I feel like that is a very important distinction.
A reminder, too, of this format, since I don't believe we've covered it, but it is same as last split. It is 2 crew battles. Got to win 2 crew battles in order to secure the victory for the week. So 3 players per squad, and we'll get to see potentially some lineup changes as the season goes on. But like we mentioned, likely Swift versus JP, Sheik versus Ness for the opening battle. They're going through picks and bans as we speak for the stage selection. What is the key here for JP? Because like you said, Sheik, has the maneuverability to kind of get around what JP wants. What does JP want to do here in this matchup in terms of how do they approach the Sheik and get the damage online?
The main thing is catching Sheik in their movement. The common wisdom of everyone's got a plan until you punch them in the face. Sheik requires a lot of micro positioning, a lot of spacing. You're going to need to get some very precise setups, especially like out of a forward tilt, and using your strong combo breakers like Nair. Drifting back so that maybe this Sheik combo that's true on every single character against a floaty character, against a character who is already drifting away before the hit, maybe, just maybe, you're going to be able to drift back far enough to get a Nair out before Sheik can hit you, and that can frustrate people. If you have these guaranteed bread and butter combos, and all of a sudden you can't get that hit, you can't connect these hits. The problem with Sheik is someone who has to push 40 easy buttons in a row perfectly. Whereas a lot of other characters, sure, they got some hard inputs, but you only got to do them once to get the stock. So we'll see how this ends up going here. I mean, honestly, just because of the online environment, because of JP's experience, I gotta favor the Ness, but I'm curious how this is gonna play out because, again, on paper, I feel like Sheik has all the tools that people want to disrupt Ness.
It often makes me think of, right, like you said, it feels like Sheik has to do a lot to do everything perfectly, but if they do, they get the massive advantage. And I'm thinking now about, in a what feels like it could be a very tight matchup to open things up here. Very back and forth in terms of percentages. Who's going to have the advantage when things get into the red in terms of that stray hit kill power? I think, tend to lean a little bit towards Ness or JP in this instance because Sheik, a lot of those kills, or at least the way you often see Sheik killing, is off of those precise hitboxes like the up smash and such. So I think JP, if they're able to also weather the early storm, they might have a chance to crawl their way back into things. So survivability, I think, a key here week one, putting your signature on it and seeing how long you can survive against the early onslaught, because that's what Delaware, I think, also has subtly gotten better and better at. A lot of these characters that they have in their kit have that ability to not just 0 to 60 you, but they're very good at then finding that stray hit to get the kill afterward and not allow you to survive up to 150 plus percentage.
Yeah, that ability to execute, I think is, I mean, I've been saying it for years, though, with different terminology every time, that the ability to finish your food, the ability to execute, stray hit kill power, whatever buzzword you want to use, is the most important thing in Smash Brothers. Because at the end of the day, if you're winning your games based on your neutral alone, it's good. You're getting a lot of practice in. But there's a lot of other things you could be doing other than playing neutral. You could be getting punishes. You can be getting combos. I'll say it. I think neutral's overrated. I think being able to touch a death of your opponent is so much more important than playing neutral. And I think that might be a little bit controversial. But listen, if you want to be consistent, you don't do it by outthinking your opponent. You can't consistently outthink everyone. But at the end of the day, if a Sheik hits a Ness, well, you are now not two players playing a mental game. You're a Sheik hitting a Ness who has very limited options. And finding a way to exploit that is the key right there. So I'm curious. This is a matchup that I can see in my head. I'm picturing it. I'm envisioning it. And I want you all to close your eyes and envision it too while we are trying to get this match underway. I thank you all for your patience. Because I don't think it's going to be explosive either way. Actually, no, I take it back. I take it all the way back. I think it's going to be explosive both ways because I think they both kill each other really hard, but don't have a lot of ways to defend against the other character. It brings me back to, I think, a Little Mac Ditto that we saw where, like, it felt like a person would come down off the Angel platform, 0 to death the other person, and then the other person would come down off the Angel platform and 0 to death the other person. And it just went on and on and on like that. That's my prediction for this match. I think we're going to see a 1-stock to 1-stock. Someone's going to win with 1. And it's going to be because it's incredibly swingy. That's my pick. I'm locking it in.
I love it. Defense is something that's really tricky in this game, and it is interesting to watch. So you can see it in some players that it's very subtle too. It's hard to pick up on that. Things like positioning and such that they are able to just kind of mitigate certain amounts of damage. And you were commenting too on how a lot of characters or a lot of players now have built up this have started to build up characters that are very touch of death-esque. And I think that's something that's interesting along the collegiate scene in general for a lot of these crew battles. These touch of death-esque characters become the kind of focal points of these matchups because in theory, you can get a ton of mileage out of them. But some teams also, you run those characters, you also run the risk of not getting that mileage out of that character. And all of a sudden, you're playing catch up with some characters that maybe are going more even than you'd like. And so it becomes very interesting to watch. A lot of teams are trending in that way. It's a very interesting time in the collegiate esports scene. So it makes me curious to see too what Kean have in their back pockets here, with Geo and Dragoon being the other two members of this squad that, again, we haven't really gotten the opportunity to see. This will be, I believe, first times on stream, but we are getting word that the match is ready to go here. Kean versus Delaware for our first match of the ECAC spring split. Should be a good one. I believe we're stage selection done, over, dusted, and it is in Nest versus Sheep. Swift versus JP, and we start off on the old classic PS2.
Yeah, and right away, Swift is boxing JP out, chasing them down in the air, relentless, because we talked about it, you don't want to let Ness breathe. Though, I think we said Ness was going to be the one doing this to Swift, but the unfortunate reality of the fact is Swift just has so much more maneuverability, and even when JP is trying to overshoot, trying to catch a jump, Swift is not falling for it.
Seen Swift play in a couple different matches, and I have seen them be able to flex the pace of the match a couple times as,
Again?
Well, I think they forgot that stage hazards were on, which is an unfortunate circumstance as they both realize it. I would have been willing to play it out. I think stage transformations in this game were funny. But on the other hand, we're going to run things back, get back to an even state here, and go back and reset for game number 1 here. But it is interesting, right? Like you said, just both very at each other right off the get-go. But at the end of the day, we talked about this matchup a lot in terms of the pace of the match, who should be kind of getting advantage, and the damage outputs they can do. One thing that I'm curious to see out of JP is, when do they opt to, mess with the game flow, right? Because Sheik feels like they have the speed advantage, but if JP can keep their distance, we've seen Swift play a more patient game in the past. Is that something they ever opt for? Is it going to be just constant aggression like we saw in the early stages?
I think it has to be constant aggression, because if you let that nest get stabilized, if you let the nest feel comfortable, then all of a sudden, I don't know what JP is going to do in terms of burst options, but at the end of the day, if you have the option to keep your opponent from thinking, and you let them think, it's usually not a good thing. Like, what I was looking at there is the way I was thinking that the place that JP was going to catch Swift was up in the air. Jump up, have a long lingering hitbox like a forward air, catch them out of their jump with the disjoint, then boom, maybe you can get a combo, maybe you can get an edge guard. But that just wasn't working because of how long Ness's jumps take. Like, in the time it takes for Ness to jump up, Sheik has already jumped up and down twice. Like, jump speeds and fall speeds are something a little more abstract. We think of, like, in terms of archetypes, fast fallers, floaties. But for every 2 jumps that Swift is getting out of there, JP's only getting 1.
Swift just has such a speed advantage in this matchup, and it does mean that JP has to, I think, be a little bit more proactive. It makes me think of, I know this oversimplifies it, but those, sort of heavy versus light type of characters, right? The light character is going to get in, get their combos or get their hits, and then try and back out. It's up to the slower character to be able to predict that to a degree and be able to punish, beat them to that punchline. And that's what JP was trying to do in the early parts of this match. So we'll see if JP is able to continue that forward. I believe we're getting right back into things momentarily here, but it should be interesting to see. Again, this is a league with a lot of talent, and this is just week 1 of the spring split. Both of these teams are very well practiced, obviously, from playing in the previous split, but here in the super elite league with the top 8 teams from the fall, I mean, one loss here early on makes your season a whole lot more difficult, especially with the teams around this league.
Yeah, so you want to start off strong, you want to get an early lead, and we're going to see if either Kean or Delaware can get that after a quick break while we get all this stage hazard shenanigans sorted out. So don't go anywhere. Esports U will be right back with the ECAC Super Elite.
Holding on to this stock at 160.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are just decent heavyweight. Gonna be seeing very large percentages. And the back ear from Matt managing to take it right there.
I see it too. Oh, good forward air tipper there. Hope should be able to recover from this unless you get countered. Dags with a huge opener there.
But Splat says, listen, I need you to get right back on stage. It's nice that you want to get here. You gotta go.
And the block, I think, actually helps Splat there. Again, falling because the second hit of that.
I didn't get to show out last time the way I wanted to. I'll do it.
He's all warmed up now, but he will drop that stock this time around. Gordo up tilt, a week where they went to set number 3 and fell in that previous series.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow, what a down air. So that you can kind of slowly build up damage, and then your armored move will not connect with all the hits, so you won't get the kill. And then you die. Tries to go for a very early up B kill right there, and your shield looks like a Skittle, and that will be it. The forward smash should be able to take it and hope with the JV3 against Splat.
That I think if you can use Milkman to shut down a B rush, you're pretty happy with that, especially if they're rushing right in. Mental Athlete catches 2, looking for more. Chris will not be outdone. Make it 3 for Mental Athlete. Yeah, that was more. You're more than happy with that trade.
And that means no KJ utility either, no extra
No.
peaks. And there's a quick trade down. Hookah wins between the Omens. It's Ummo and uh-oh for Mars Hill, as that's going to be a Brooklyn College first map win. Players just 1 shot left, probably 30 HP combined as Noodle gets traded. It's all up to Chris. Headshot necessary for Excite as he's trying to dance around the side, doesn't know where he's coming from. And Chris just barely secures it. I think 1 more second of stalling, and that's a Mars Hill round, so absolutely brutal. The concussion come through, flashpoints as well. This is an all-out brawl.
So much utility.
Ramp coverage. And everyone's here, and it's all looking good for Brooklyn, maintaining that weapons advantage, just rushing on in, and that's a flawless in this map point round. Suddenly surrounded, I think got shut down by a Rolling Thunder, and sure, Guyper's looking the wrong way, but that is a perfect defending half for Mars Hill for the win. Shot down, and that's gonna be an extra kill from the blast, and now it's just Guyper left after a flurry of kills. And no time to waste. There's too much on the clock. Lots of damage dealt, but only 1 taken down.
Trades on 1 on each. Knives finally come out, though. I could hear them. Didn't look like they caught anything, though. There's the flank. Axite with a stringer doesn't find anything now. But trades coming through. 1 on each. Chris continue to trade 2 to 2.
Oh, no.
Down. Finally, the picks on Pixie. That's it. MHU stays alive.
Another moment where you're worried for him. Polo Spring gets that first blood. 2 members left. We've seen August come alive when moments required, but now with worse weapons and not quite the angle. That is a 13-10 win.
And, well, we're already underway.
That we are, and I'm just so happy to be here. Of course, it's going to be Kilo Miles leading in on all the action, and I am Captain Ahsoka, going to be your co-host and commentator for today. And already, before we can even get the introductions done,
However, when iTheta gets the hit, then it's Nick Jam popped into the air, and that's no good. Especially when you're knocked off stage. Nick Jam trying to recover, going high, but gets knocked out of the air by the forward air, swatted away. Can he get it again? Waits for the air dodge, but he misses the up B.
Already you can see Ken trying to get right back to work, but they're in the red. They're in the critical percentages. 1 solid hit, and honestly, from Ike, nearly every hit is solid, as that will just about do it. It's the up air to get the final stock. Oh, nice forward throw off of the edge. Not going to be able to confirm, though, as yet another final elimination goes the way of iTheta. And if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 up, 3 down. FSU take the dub.
Oh, Helix, I would like to see him press that, because you can't get that height off the wall, and Mux is going to be able to take advantage of it. And I mean, we've seen flip resets, we've seen ceiling challenges, and we just get the basic old school air dribble to go right into the net. It's going to be Helix with the dribble away. Bumps 11-10 out of the way as well. That might be a goal. Helix over the top. Great downfield pass, and they're going to take advantage of the space created by this demolition. Able to get that one away. Helix going to get a pass back to the midfield, looking for Pancake. Going for the double tap. Squishy save attempt, not going to be there. Here's Helix off the side, and a forced own goal once again. Concord's going to take the lead. And Pancake's not able to read that as Helix gets a monster dunk here. Can you turn around on it? He can. Helix.
Just realizing this ball's got to go somewhere and always knows. Now Matt Mux down bottom. Oh, brutal right there. Oxygen. Okay.
84?
82. My goodness.
Okay,
I could not have been farther off. Excuse me, folks. Excuse me.
As this one might find the back of the net, and it does again.
Boy.
ET, let's give him 4. You know, we're talking about everything else.
14 seconds, maybe in somebody's dreams. There's another goal down bottom. 7 score differential here.
Zarya choice that V-Snipes is sitting on is going to help bring St. Francis to victory, but already Ohio Northern is going to get into the bases. Millions taking out their counterpart, and Zephyr now looking towards any more targets to be found, but the way they're falling, it's going to be basically just like that. It's already over before it even begins. And they do now with 5%. Almost everyone in St. Francis caught inside of that Earth Shatter. The Immortality Field may have come up, but the damage, you cannot survive through it. No one able to touch from St. Francis. And Ohio Northern here, Jag is going to take map 1 of Nepal 2-0, 100-0 each round. V-Snipes, put your supports in great positions where they can not worry about damage but still be able to get the healing. This is crazy from V-Snipes. They wanted to go in and try to meet the amplification matrix, but instead gonna meet their death while Harry is having the time of their life on this Reinhardt.
It'd be a whole different sort of fight, but now St. Francis, they're going to try to go for a similar approach but go a different way. But Harry knows. Harry's able to spear them off the map.
Wow.
Continued chaos.
We're seeing these things really doing the world's work on themselves, but Balder and this overclock 2 already looking to make that 3. Another pick here potentially, really wanted to get rid of V-Snipes, doesn't need the overclock, and now one final target to go. Caro assassinated. Balders.
For a full one at the very least, the Lucio trying their best to make it there. I do believe they'll at least get a little bit of a contest. But I mean, you can see where Harry is all the way in the spawn, and there's no more chances for St. Francis. Ohio Northern with a clean 3-0 to send them home with a smile.
But yeah, I'm just surprised that the Swain didn't end up moving a little bit sooner. His now, Jana, no flash.
No flash, auto attack, first blood. Froggy is the one who picked that one up. Evelyn Bot is in the area. Descent does drop the Rift Guard. They're going to look to engage. It's going to be a cataclysm.
And we are back into the game, folks. Just a little bit to sort out these technical difficulties, but fortunately, this game is starting out exactly like the other one did. Swift is not letting JP breathe whatsoever.
Yep, back onto PS2, and JP is gonna SD off the start there. The needles send him low, and the up B angle won't be able to ride the wall back up, so Swift gifted an early stock and already working hard to put the damage on to the second one.
Remember what I was saying about how if Sheik just pushes 40 buttons in a row correct, she wins the game? This is a perfect example of that. Like, sure, you only got 24% from that, but so much stage control is gained every single time Swift gets these 2 to 6 hit combos.
Forward air in, and there's the string of aerials, nairs and forward airs galore, racking up damage to make it 57% on JP's second stock, make that 61. Tries to go for the drag down forward air, but unable to find anything off the back of it. Ground control, and Swift going for a heavy read there with forward smash, maybe looking for a panic roll. Doesn't quite find it, but again, Swift, the positioning, they're just outspacing right now and just barely staying out of reach, and they're gonna find the sweet spot of the up smash, and all of a sudden it's a 3-1 lead.
Swift's edge guarding is unreal, especially in this matchup. JP can't do anything off stage, and they try to jump out, but do they even have a double jump? Okay, they save it right there. JP wise enough to not even go for the recovery right now. But, oh my gosh, so much pressure throwing the rope bomb off the edge. JP is forced to pick an option off stage, but no options are good. Coming back down, doesn't have a double jump, catches the PK fire right there. They do have a double jump. I'm lying to you. But to be fair, Swift isn't giving me a moment to get any fact checkers on the scene.
Just so much control right now. Swift is everywhere. JP nowhere to run to, and he's somehow able to get around the yo-yo as well with that snap to ledge. Swift, if he can hold on to the stock, it's a massive lead, and he will! No, not quite yet. JP able to survive that combo. The needle's a bouncing fish, unable to do the trick quite yet, but the next one will. Side B lands, goes for the up smash, no follow-up though. Needle's bouncing fish again, but this time JP went a little bit too high. Swift is sitting at 100% here, and the third try won't find the mark here. You can tell Swift wants it, but not able to quite get that last connection. You're talking about the combos. Have to be able to clean things up here, but he air dodges back in. It was an only option left, and Swift will get a 3 stock to start off the week.
You were asking me before this game whether or not I thought Swift would ever take a moment to back off, keep the pressure off, make JP think a little bit, and they didn't. But they did in their own way. There were a couple times where Swift would come down on top of JP's shield, ready to keep up the pressure, and then just fall right through the platform that JP was shielding on. Or they would go right on top of JP and then bouncing fish away. Just completely disengaging from these fights, keeping JP guessing whether or not Swift was going to actually attack, because all aggression is just predictable. It makes you a Dark Souls boss, a complicated Dark Souls boss, but a Dark Souls boss nonetheless. However, if you're getting some variety in there, if you're mixing up when you're going in and when you're suddenly retreating, but then instantly back in, like falling through the platform and rising right back up with an aerial, that's the kind of versatility, the adaptability that makes you so hard to predict and made Swift able to get that 3 stock.
And on top of that, too, I have to commend Swift's positioning overall. Their spacing was so good. JP, you could tell, too, JP wanted some reversals here and there, especially trying to get back from the ledge, you know, going for things like the falling forward air. And Swift was able to just, like you said, disengage seemingly every single time. Anything JP hunted for, he just could not find. That preemptive game plan that had to work here in this matchup got completely shut down, and Swift was able to run the board. And just like that, Delaware and the Blue Hens have a 3-0 lead here in terms of that stock count. So 9-6, the current stock count lead for Delaware. Kean will have to now send in their second member, and we get to see one of the new faces of this squad.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to bring to the table, especially after watching your captain, watching that happen to your captain, a 3-stock. We're talking about how Swift's versatility, or sorry, JP's versatility, JP's experience being one of the returning members was going to be such a defining factor. Didn't quite pan out that way, Soy, unfortunately, and because of that, JP is going to have to lead from the side right now.
Yeah, no JP in the lineup here after that loss, and that's going to put, again, a lot of pressure on the newer faces. And Kean's gone through a handful of changes, I think, over the years here. This squad, it's had some veteran leaders. I remember not too long ago, they had a very solid Toon Link player that was able to put up some good numbers, but unfortunately, I believe they've moved on and graduated. JP now the next big man on campus, and unable to get the win here against Swift means that his team is at an early deficit. But this was the power of Delaware, especially through the fall split. They would get these early leads and then just continue to run away with the competition. It was very rare that you got to see the full lineup from this team. It was really until the Northwood series or the Fisher series that they were pushed to the brink. And even in those matches, it was very often down to 1 stock or 2 stocks here that really made the difference. And so the fact that Swift on a lighter character like Sheik was able to survive, hold all 3 stocks, shows you the power of this squad.
The generic conversation in every collegiate crew battle is, do you start strong or do you save your last for the anchor? The problem with teams like Delaware is they're going to do both. They're going to save their best player for last, but also their best players first, and also their best players in the middle, because they're all good in different ways. And also in most ways. And it's very difficult to get a leg up. And I am very worried for Kean right here, because this is a Ridley coming out here from Dragoon. One of the new players coming out here with a very tough task ahead of them in terms of Swift. How are they going to handle? This is big and brawny, but not quite heavy, versus the nimblest character in the game.
Dragoon on the Dragon. I believe we'll get a stage selection switch up here. I believe we're going to Kalos instead of PS2, so Kalos the pick here. Like you said, Ridley versus Sheik, the matchup we're going to see. Dragoon, this will be their first time here in the ECAC, their first time in the spotlight. Ridley, I feel like, is a character that, strangely enough, is seeing a little bit more action in the collegiate SSBU level, and has certainly found some spaces here and there. What do they have to do to shut down this Sheik? Because like you said, Swift, very nimble, very fast, and against a big body, I fear that combo game that Swift was able to use in that previous matchup.
You pick Kalos because you want to play center stage, you want to play around your big moves that are hard to avoid, and you want to keep Sheik away from platform extensions. That's what took out JP, one of those stocks. Platform extensions from Sheik. Sheik's going to get a lot more of them out of platforms than Dragoon, so play around that center. Keep Swift away. You got to watch out too. Avoid tech traps on that side platform, because you saw Swift is not above pulling the trigger on a audacious forward smash. So if you get caught teching on that platform, you could be in for a world of hurt right there, as Dragoon, again, is playing for this center, but getting too close, trying to pressure Swift in the corner is going to get you shield grabbed, and then here's the combo game coming out. Dragoon does disengage, though.
Quick 32 dealt to Dragoon. Now ups a back away. Playing for center stage, like you mentioned. Goes for forward air into forward smash, so just looking at some good damage online. Swift getting stuffed out. Dragoon holding center stage once again. This does give a lot of agency to Swift, the way Dragoon wants to play, in terms of Swift having the ability to just pick and choose when to go in. They can even opt to back away to those platforms to get full charge needles and such, but maybe a chance here for Dragoon to ledge trap, but Swift able to get out of it pretty cleanly overall.
I'm seeing some very intelligent gameplay from Dragoon. The way they're fishing for reversals. I mean, reversals are what keeps heavies viable. Because let's be honest, you're not always going to get your fancy little heavy combos. What you are going to do is get a stray hit in the middle of your opponent's combo and get a kill. And that's what Dragoon is doing. They're using a lot of drift back, cross-up nairs, and then they're pressuring Swift at the ledge, but not too overcommittal. It's working out fine so far, but Swift is still Swift. Swift is still getting extensions like that, mid-air needles into up air, following up into the back air. Swift gets aggressive off the stage, but this is where Dragoon has been shining. One strong hit is all they need.
Good nair to knock Swift off stage. Again, just trying to cover, throwing out nair after nair. Parry on the last little bit of that forward smash, but Swift can't really truly punish. They do find a back air eventually, and up B will fight through the side B and take the first stock. So Swift dropping the opener here. Dragoon's up to 183, but like we said, sometimes you rely on that strong hitbox, and Sheik doesn't have too many of those that they can just throw out. Maybe a chance here, though, along the ledge. Dragoon able to, again, make it back and survive. Back to the ledge they go. Off stage is... Wait, they bounced off the side? That is an odd... Unless they went side... That is an odd angle. I've never seen that bounce that way. But either way, it gives a stock back, and now Swift can go to work on stock 2.
And you love these low percents if you're Sheik. Gets a grab off the ledge, and there's that platform extension that I was talking about into 2 more fares. Man, Sheik just got 8% more for that.
The turnaround in the back air, too, along that platform. Like you said, just making sure Dragoon's tech game is on point, and didn't even get the chance to in that sequence. Another back air here. Needles, bouncing fish. Is that enough? Yes, it is! And unlike stock number 1, Dragoon will not live up to nearly 200. Dies at practically 100% there. And Swift doing so much work. He's already taken 5 stocks off of Kean's roster, and he's looking to take a 6th.
The problem with those reversals being so much of Dragoon's game plan on the first stock is if Swift just plays better, what is Dragoon gonna do? You can't just make Swift drop a combo, especially when you're already in the middle of it. So instead, you're going to see Dragoon fighting hard, trying to get a little more aggressive with these nairs. But the rising nair, you don't want that. You want to be falling with that thing. Because of that one little switch up, we see Swift taking the lead once again. Here at the ledge, double jumping off, but Swift is right outside their burst range, extending into the up smash, and Swift has only dropped a stock against 2 of Kean's members.
Swift is on fire right now. 6 stocks taken and only 1 dropped, like you mentioned. What a performance from Swift. And I mean, they have just not messed around at all here. They quickly dealt with JP. They saw Dragoon, and like you said, while those reversals are scary, Swift knows his limits for these combos and knows when to cut them off so that those reversals cannot find the mark. And thus Swift is able to take down another member of Kean, which means that Kean are now on their last leg here. We get to see the 3rd and final member of this squad in the opening crew battle.
And I'm worried. I'm worried for Kean right here. We talked about how crucial this first crew battle is, and we've seen teams get swept and then come back to the second crew battle, but it's really tough to make a plan when presumably you had a plan of like, okay, this player is going to fight this member. This player is going to fight this member. Okay, we have a plan for each person. And then all of a sudden, no one can stop Swift. Your whole plan's out the window. You're improvising now. You're trying to adapt. You're trying to find what your counter is going to be. And, well, that can't be an ideal situation. Dragoon did show that Swift is not invincible. Did show that Swift is able to overcommit. The way Swift was so confident that their needles would interrupt up B and then boom, got taken out by that. I think overall, I don't know. I feel like Swift definitely has weaknesses, but none that you can exploit faster than Swift can fix. Like, all of Swift's mistakes were just gameplay that are going to be there no matter.
I've been.
It may have been
Oh.
the stream, and we're back.
There we go. I was worried, but we are back and ready. We get to see Corrin as the last member. Geo on the Corrin here against Swift. Swift will have to drop the opening stock here of this battle. We go to Town and City, and Corrin, I mean, obviously we've seen some good tournament performances from this character in the past, but we'll have to see how Geo does. Again, also their first time here at ECAC, their first time really on stream. Swift, I'm not allowing them a moment to breathe.
Just like Ridley, the Nair is their bread and butter. It's big, it's lingering, and it starts a lot for Corrin, but only at like the mid-low percents. Like, you're gonna get some mileage off of it at like 30. How do you get Swift to 30 though? That is the question. Oh wait, you do it like that. You do just like that.
Side B will connect. Swift backing away, able to weave around these projectiles too. Very well done by Swift. The maneuverability of this character really being the factor here. We'll have to just play a bit more patient in this recovery. Charged forward smash there for Geo. He nearly gets caught. Actually, he's going to go beneath the stage. Can the up B get there? No, he cannot. Swift pushing Geo underneath the stage. The mix-up you never expected. We'll take stock number 1.
Yeah, and now you've got... you know what? I love that combo. I love that combo because what does Sheik love to do? Sheik loves to push buttons, but no double poof in this game, my friend. Instead, it's going to be Geo who sees their opening. This ledge trapping is where Corrin shines, but the bouncing fish is going to get them right around Geo's offense. Now Swift is the one who's putting Geo into the corner. You're in the box, and it's really difficult to get out. You can't tech roll in, though, because Sheik will follow you all the way up there. We talked about that 2 jumps for 1, and Sheik has the ability to burst their way all the way up, but maybe a little too far because they're blasting off again, and that will be Swift down another stock.
Very rare that you get to see Corrin's Nair kill, but the trade will do the trick. So Swift down to their final stock here. Can Geo hold on? They are already up to 120, and Swift have been so good in these situations. They are unable to clean that stock up on the platform there. The shield came out just in the nick of time. Forward smash won't be able to do the trick either. He's been hunting for a couple of those panic rolls, but hasn't been able to land one quite yet. Needles a bouncing fish, though, will do the trick this time around, and all of a sudden, Geo is on their last stock.
So, we talked about how Sheik can't kill. It's time to abandon the 2020 Ultimate metagame. She can kill, and she can kill from across the stage with needles. That's insane! And now Swift is looking to do just that. Catches the low recovery right there with a back air and gets back on stage to continue the ledge trap. Now Geo retreats to center stage, but they're not able to hold on to it just because of Swift's superior movement. Falling Nair doesn't leave Swift vulnerable. Geo is not able to find an opening of random up tilt. Is it enough? No. Stray hit after stray hit, but finally, Geo gets another opportunity to maybe close things out here at the edge.
There's no real chance to even go off stage or any kind of edge guard, or just have to go for a ledge trap of some sort. That's where you can find some opportunities, and he might find one here. He will. He catches the jump from ledge, and Geo will shut down Swift, and he's holding on by the skin of his teeth, but one is off the board of Delaware.
That's what you needed. That's the one thing you needed to make this, to be able to be in that team room and be like, winnable. We can do this. It's not impossible. Because if you get 9 stocked by the opponent, it's not easy to come back from. You can have all the pep talks you want, be like, okay, we have some bad games sometimes, but we're bringing this back. We're stronger than this. But when you get the first player down and you get killed by the second player, you're like, I could do better. It's like when you get to the boss's second phase on their first time around and you're like, I had that. If I had just played a little better, I would have had more resources for that second phase, and I would have had that. And I want to see what they do here to adapt right here. Now, Geo obviously is on a bit of a fact-finding mission. We'll have one stock to see who the second player from Delaware is going to be. I would guess maybe MPG as a way to deal with Corrin's range with a little bit more range of your own, but we will see. We will see who is coming out from Delaware.
You'll see momentarily. Geo. So now, I mean, we get a full look at Kean, or yes, at Kean's lineup here. JP on the Ness, Dragoon on the Ridley, and Geo on the core. And these are characters that, well, as you can tell from the way Swift is playing, that they aren't the fastest of characters, but they're certainly not lacking in kill power. So Swift seemingly coming out the gates was also a very strong pick, I think, for the Blue Hens.
Yeah, I gotta say, a little bit of a non sequitur. I like these new players from Kean. I like them. Dragoon and Geo both bring very interesting play styles. I feel like Dragoon just didn't get a chance to shine at all, given that I tried to hype it up. I tried to talk about reversals and such, but Dragoon just had a bad matchup against Swift. Like, that's a really bad matchup against a Mega Man, against anyone who you have just a tiny bit more room to breathe. I feel like Dragoon puts in some work, and Geo already demonstrated that they can take 2 stocks from Swift. So, not too bad. Not too shabby at all. We'll see what else Geo can get done.
Yeah, 1 stock remaining for them, so a long road back. But if Swift can take 8 stocks off the board, maybe Geo can find some room back here. We'll see who Delaware opts to send in. Delaware, obviously, a team that, you know, they feel like they are championship caliber. They were in the semifinals, and they were able to generally keep things close with Fisher in that semifinal. So they would love the chance to get back to that stage, and a win here in week 1 would certainly help, and especially in terms of a big victory, right? These tiebreakers will certainly help for their overall standings. Delaware finished, I believe, as a number 3 seed in that previous bracket in the fall split, where Kean finished as an 8 seed with the players that they had through the fall. They were able to win that opening match against LIU in that playoff bracket. So Kean, kind of a lot to live up to, whereas Delaware, the bar is set now here in the ECAC. We know what they are capable of. Can they continue to hit that bar and raise it from here? That is the question as we're getting ready here. I believe we're getting stage selections, picks and bands done with here momentarily.
Music. For some reason. It's important. It's important. Listen, you really want to trust random music in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? I mean, Xenoblade maybe. Some bangers in there. But also, you never know. You could get generic looping field music. Do you really want that? Gamers, do you really want that? No, that's why we pick the music. That's why we pick it. And it's going to be PT coming out here, so this has got to be Emba? Yeah. This has got to be Emba coming out here to possibly finish off Geo. We'll see. Geo has the opportunity to scout out exactly what kind of heat Emba is frying today.
So from the few matches I've gotten to see Emba play in, Emba, I've typically seen their Squirtle very proficient, very good at getting those tech traps and jab resets. Their Squirtle combos are very notably good, and so I expect to see a lot of that here in this matchup too, especially against Corrin. But you know, the other Pokemon are no slouches, right? Ivysaur just very well rounded overall, and Charizard has gotten a lot of work done in key moments in the past. But right now, it is the Squirtle that is putting all the work. Now to finally switch to Ivysaur at 103. Tether Cancel to get back to the stage, but Geo looking for a way to find an opening. Emba able to fight his way out of the corner.
Ooh, and now Geo gets just a tiny bit of option. Goes for a very ambitious forward smash right there. However, I feel like they're counting on the lingering hitbox that Emba was able to get around with their disjoint. And now we're seeing a little bit of a reversal up until they get called by that forward air. Somehow, though, Geo does hang on. Maybe a counter right off ledge here. I thought Geo was going for it all, but a little bit of a pop-up right there. Charizard's out to play. You know Emba wants the finisher right now.
The hourglass is ticking here for Geo at 170. So many quick kill options on Charizard. Grab, forward throw, and even from center stage, just underneath the platform, that will still do the trick. And Delaware will take game number 1 of this best-of-3 series.
And it wasn't that close. But it could have been a way not closer. The fact of the matter is, we talked about that hope you get by taking down that first player. The fact that you were able to put in work versus Emba too, you can see that this is not an insurmountable skill gap. This isn't like Sonic's 9-stocking the enemy team and then going out for dinner. This is, I don't want to say weakness, but it's not invincibility. And that's all you really need. Like, I'm not going to say there are cracks, but there are definitely splinters. There are fractures that you could maybe, just maybe exploit as everyone's gearing up for who's going to be coming in for the second crew battle.
We'll get to see the changes and adjustments here between crew battle number 1 and crew battle number 2. If Kean wants to take this series, they've got to take the next 2 crew battles in a row here. Delaware, we'll get to see who they opt to send in first. On one hand, it's the if it ain't broke, don't fix it, lead with Swift again. But maybe they want to, get one of their players some extra time on screen and get them some more time in the spotlight, because that playing it on stream for the first time, it is a very real factor of, okay, first real competition of the split to try and get back into the swing of things. And Kean, obviously things didn't start very well for them, but maybe they change up the lineup here and go a different direction, trying to preemptively guess where Delaware will go with their player selection. But it'll be interesting to see as things get ready for set number 2.
And we will get to see that after a slightly extended break. We're going to get things all settled for this second crew battle so we can get right into it, right into the action next time. So don't go anywhere. Esports U will be back after a slightly extended break. I lied! We're back! And it's gonna be K-Rool taking on Emba starting out here. We saw just a taste of Emba in the beginning, or in the end of the last match, and now Emba is back out to play. The reversal right there with the invincibility on the Ivysaur, the up B to take them off the top at 78%. This is such momentum to start out the second crew battle with.
Yeah, leading with a K-Rool is a gutsy call, especially going into Emba, who's just got so many options and's got such a solid combo game. The Squirtle, again, doing a lot of work early on here, but the Ivysaur was the one really putting the pressure on here. But now look at this early up B, up to 67, and Emba knows the spacing so that he can, even though using that up B, get back to the stage. But unlike King K-Rool, they get pineappled underneath, and they could have survived a bit longer, but unfortunately, they can't make it back to the ledge. So down goes stock number 2. They're looking for an opportunity of their own. At this percentage, you land one good hit against Squirtle, and maybe you find a kill, but it's not that easy. Emba just playing in a good pace right now, being able to weave around a couple of these hitboxes and continuing to chip away at this percent.
And they do get an opportunity for a tech chase, but Emba just goes high to avoid Geo's crown. Now the rapid jab on shield. Are they going to get the invincible roll? No, they just drop shield and dash attack, relying on their super armor, knowing you cannot afford to take a trade right now that you're not super armored for. So instead, Geo is going for these nairs, going for these dash attacks, anything they can to get their opening safely. But it's not working out. Emba's not falling for it. Instead, Emba is using the Razor Leaves to gently usher Geo to the side of the stage to finish them off with another up B, a 3-stock by Emba to open up the second crew battle.
Emba with a massive victory, just like Swift was able to do in that first set this time shuts down JP, I believe, was the opening player there for Kean. Going to the pocket, King K rule, but it does not work out in his favor. So JP gets shut down once again, unfortunately. But Emba all over this matchup. And Emba, this is, I think, another factor that you have to worry about when looking at the Delaware lineup. You've got Swift on the Sheik, which is an interesting match because you don't see too many Sheik players in the collegiate level nowadays, but Emba has this sort of pop-off ability of being able to three-stock some of the kind of more well-known talent. I'm recalling a series a while ago against St. John's where he drops game 1 to EJJ, the Diddy Kong, and then proceeds to just run the table the next 2 games in a row against him. So he has this sort of wild card factor where just this explosiveness comes out of thin air seemingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's Pokemon Trainer's whole gimmick. You adapt. You figure out the way around your opponent's gameplay. And the fact that they beat EJJ in particular, Pokemon Trainer's one fault, you may not believe me, but it's true. At a high level, Pokemon Trainer struggles at ledge because you can stall, you can float around, you can flip all you want, but at the end of the day, Pokemon Trainer just doesn't have a lot of ways to actually get off of ledge that can be contested, and EJJ is really good at holding ledge as Diddy Kong. So if Emba is able to run the table on EJJ, good luck ledge trapping this guy. That's all I gotta say, as we do have what looks like Dragoon coming out here from Kean. Dragoon was able to get the first stock, able to get the first crack in the armor against Delaware last time. We'll see if they can do the very same against Emba.
We're going to back here to PS2 as well, and we are back underway. Yep, they'll get into the action. Here we go. Dragoon, what can they do here in this matchup? Again, another matchup where Squirtle can put in a lot of work on the bigger body, do the work, or do the early percentages, and continue to tack on that damage. But, oh, that might be an SD right off the bat. The side B, not what he wanted, bounced too far away. So Emba gifts a stock to Kean. Dragoon will gladly take it as it will help chip into this deficit.
I mean, you take what you can get. Every mistake, you can claim that you forced your opponent to make it. As right here, Dragoon pushing on the pressure. I love Dragoon's use of these falling nairs. The way they were crossing up against Swift in the previous game was a sight to behold right here, as down throw into forward air. Dragoon stacks on a little bit of a percent. They're trying to hold on to this stock as best they can.
Ooh, they're able to avoid that up B. Emba going for that very frequently. He does get the grab here. Now the switch to Ivysaur. Dragoon trying to survive. Barely able to outspace that up B from Emba. And the side B doesn't grab the ledge, goes to stage, and he doesn't get the grab, so Emba is there to punish with the forward smash. Down goes Dragoon's first stock. Now Emba on the Ivysaur. Continue to pressure here. Good juggle here to help even out this percent. Nice reversal on that back air, but does not find the side beat. Dragoon rolls in, gets caught once again. Emba just covering so many options here. Dragoon not left with much on the table.
Yeah, gets the down tilt right there. The extension, Dragoon's trying to recover, but no forward smash for you. But the second you try to punish that forward smash, you know Emba's going for the grab every single time. Trying to set up with a little bit of a tech chase right there on the platform. Finally, they do get the up air, and that will be off the top. 2 stocks to 1 right here for Emba, who's looking to do what Swift couldn't and finish it off all on 1. But Dragoon continues their streak of getting at least 1. You can never say Dragoon didn't get at least 1.
Cracks in the armor, but it is still strong. Emba, 62%. Dancing around center stage, now continuing to press in thanks to that projectile. No real easy answer for Dragoon to that Razor Leaf. Another grab here. Up B this time. Will connect. Side B won't catch. Another grab of the ledge for Dragoon. Can they find an aerial in? No. Fine Whips just continue to deal so much. Thought he could catch a jump there with the Bullet Seed, but not this time around. Dash attack from Dragoon will get him out of the corner. This is a chance to take another stock off the board. Forward tilt won't do the trick, but the jabs are just faster. Neutral B to try and cover the tether, but able to stall out was Emba. Dash attack from Ivysaur. A little bit of back and forth of fighting their way out of the corner here. But Dragoon able to survive only for a moment. This time around, it's Caster's Curse, and it's up B to shut down Dragoon.
Emba holds on to their stock, holds on to this lead as Delaware is coming out the gates right here in the Super Elite Division as one of the strongest contenders by far. They fell to Fisher last year, and they're already making a statement here against a fellow top 8er who also fell to Fisher, who, by the way, Fisher is starting a lot of like villain origin stories right here. The way they crushed so many dreams, you've got a lot of people coming for you. Both of these people are got taken out by Fisher, but Delaware right here is like, we're back with a vengeance, and we have a lot of training under our belt.
Yeah, Fisher, obviously with the results they've put up in the past, they are the at least for SSBU here in the ECAC, they've become the dynasty. And when you have that dynasty title, you put a target on your back and everyone is gunning for you. In Delaware, they are a team that does not forget. They want that run back. They want to prove that they are championship caliber, and they've got the talent to do it. So they have to go through step by step, though. I have to start here with week 1 against Kean, and they are, showing up in a big way here. Emba, again, another massive performance. They drop a stock here, unfortunately, thanks to that side B, but able to shut down Dragoon, and outside of that stock, really just not allowing this Ridley to breathe. Dragoon was able to find a couple of chances here and there. They did get on that second stock, Emba up to about 100 or so, but felt like once you hit that red mark, once you cross that triple digit mark, Dragoon started to hunt a little bit, just looking for kind of the safe kill options at moments when they had him in disadvantage, but just nothing biting. Emba knew every play in the book.
That they did, and Geo is going for the Sonic, possibly. Geo has a lot of versatility, it seems. And Geo was the one who took down 2 stocks last time on Swift to keep Kean in the running. So we'll see if they're able to do that right here, as the arena may have shut down. So we're going to try to get back into the arena real quick. But this is tough. It's quite possible that Kean is not going to win this. We have to be realistic, but the fact that Kean was able to make a showing, was able to make a dent in the armor, is already showing that Kean is a force to be reckoned with, even if they go down from the top division to the second most division. I mean, going from super elite to elite is not terrible, and you can still fight your way back up into super elite and still be a threat later in the season.
When you look at the fall split to spring split too, in terms of who qualified for the super elite league, there were very few upsets in that fall bracket. There was only about 1 or 2. I believe SFU got 1 upset, and I believe there was 1 other in that bracket. But Kean being in top 8 through the regular season proves that they deserve a spot here. But that loss to Fisher on the upper side of that bracket also shows there is still room to grow for this squad. And like you said, they've gone through some changes in this roster. It's not the same Kean roster that we've seen in years past. They will have to prove that they can maintain that bar. It's unlike Delaware, where we know, it's a lot of the returning faces from last season. It's a lot of the same players who have that pop-off ability. The bar is set for them. But for Kean, it's a question of where is the bar here with these new faces. And running into Delaware is no easy task, but these are the matches that you have to find a way to battle around and find ways to overcome your opponent if you are going to prove yourself to be a championship in the Super Elite League. But unfortunately, just things haven't panned out this way. It is still early in the season, though. A loss in week 1 doesn't doom your season. You've still got 7 weeks, I believe, afterward to prove yourself and make a run towards a playoff spot. But it is a little bit harder, and it still bites a little bit more when you start off, when you have a game plan going into week 1 and it goes awry.
Ooh. This is a weird way to start the season. I do agree with you. The fact that I feel like this season, more than most, is putting a lot of emphasis on growth, on fighting your way to the top. Because the way we've done it in the past with those seeded brackets, like sometimes you'd just be fighting, you'd be seeing a team that's 7-0 going up against a team that's 1-6. It's not fair. Then in the other season, we'd have, power scaled teams. I forget what the actual bracket is called, and they'd be going head to head right there. But it would kind of just feel like, okay, we're kind of just playing people the same power level as us the entire time. And kind of I move up, but not really. I really like this new division format where you're fighting to advance. I mean, it's the same reason you grind Elo. You're there. You're like, I'm in Masters. I could totally get to Grandmaster again. I could totally get back there. I was there before. I can get back there. And so you got to gamify it up. You got to gamify everything. It's the way every ranked system has been. And listen, you can get back to Grandmaster. You can get back to Challenger. I believe in you. You can do it.
It is interesting, the notes on this format too, that I don't know if we actually specified specifically, but there are 8 teams in the Super Elite League. The bottom 2 of this division drop down to, I believe it's the Elite League, and the top 2 of the Elite League get promoted up. So it's similar to soccer, to some Smash brackets in the past that we mentioned before the broadcast. But that is the way this new division system is set up. So again, still a long season here. It is just week 1, but a good early start here for Delaware. And if you look around this league specifically, this Super Elite League, you got SFU Red, Fisher East, Old Dominion, Wichita State is in this bracket as well. The Golden Knights, and then Fisher Northeast is another squad here. So 2 Fisher teams that, again, we talked about Fisher and their proficiency in the SSBU scene in particular, but there are a lot of other talented squads here that have been able to at least show that there are cracks in the armor for some of these top teams. Wichita State has had a recent emergence that's been really fun to watch. Old Dominion is a squad that has gone through a couple of these qualifying brackets as well, so they are a now battle-tested group. And SFU Red was, I believe, one of the few teams that actually pulled off an upset to get into this Super Elite League. So it's a very fun Elite League that we have here for this spring split here at ECAC.
And we're going to get to see how it stabilizes too. A stat that is going to be, I feel like, a lot more impactful than just being in the Super Elite at the end of the season is how long have you stayed there? If your team has started in the Super Elite and has been there basically the entire time, maybe you drop down to Elite once, you go back up. Number of weeks rather in the Super Elite is going to be, I feel like, the best indicator of playoff success, because anyone can get hot at any time. You could be in playoffs and fight your way to the top, but I feel like just the sheer dominance of staying in this level. Again, we've had similar systems before, but we're just going to see a different level of consistency throughout these rosters as they try to fight their way through it.
it's going to be fun to watch as the season pans out. Week 1 matchups, obviously we're covering Delaware versus Kean. Wichita State opens up with Old Dominion. That's going to be a fun matchup for those two. SFU Red, they get Fisher East, and then Fisher Northeast goes up against the Golden Knights as well. So we'll get those results later on, but we are going to cut to a short break to get ready for the continuation of this Delaware versus Kean matchup. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody.
My bad.
The last, what could be the last game of the ECAC Super Elite Week 1, Kean University versus Delaware. And right now, Delaware is doing pretty good, I do have to say.
Delaware is looking real good. They took set number 1. They're trying to close out set number 2 here as Kean down to their last member now. It's Geo, and we commented a little bit on it before, but the Sonic this time is coming out from Geo. They rocked Corrin in set number 1. Can the Sonic put in a little bit more work here in set number 2? Do we see a second member of the Blue Hens is the question.
I mean, I feel like if any character can do it, it's probably Sonic. Sonic has the ability not just to, quote, run away, but to pick and choose every battle that he fights and make sure that every fight he takes is a winning one. You can see that if Geo sees anything a little fishy about this situation, they just go, well, off to the other side of the stage I go. But if they do see that Emba looks a little vulnerable, then they go in and get a hit.
71% already on Emba. Neutral B will deal a little bit more. Like you said, just Geo playing to their game, picking and choosing when to weave in and out, when to go in, and the neutral B from Emba will interrupt a little bit of that, but it's more that an SD occurs here from Geo. They go a little bit too far, and they're unable to recover. So a stock gifted away, and that was at a low percent too, so the lead that Geo had now really mitigated, although Emba is sitting at 103, and this is one of the things about Emba that is interesting. I mentioned how strong the Squirtle is. He's got a lot of confidence in it. He's sitting at the lightest character at 117. Sonic, I mean, we've seen not shy of kill power, and they'll get the stock thanks to that back throw.
Now, Emba playing safe, playing to the back, and what scares me, just the raw F smash. Okay, that scares me. 114 now, and it looked like they were gonna dash back forward smash again, but Emba is not that predictable. Not by me, not by Geo, as Emba does get the grab right here. Back throw, opportunity for an edge guard once again, but over to the Charizard now. The big beefy hitbox that they need to finish that stock. One stock apiece, Delaware and Kean.
Back air will do the trick, and like you said, one stock apiece now. Geo has the low percent lead here, but Emba's been very good when sitting at 0, and now all of a sudden, quick combo, Geo's at 40. Remember, Geo dropped the stock to an SD earlier, so you gotta be careful with these recoveries too. Emba got a little bit more damage, but Geo is now in advantage. Can he get the follow-up? No, up air gets shielded. Neutral air will knock him off stage. Tries to get aggressive out of the corner once again, but this time Emba just opts to back away. Both players back on stage, the fight is back on, and Emba making good use of this dash attack, using it sparingly, but the times that he's used it is often hit. I think he's 2 for 3 after that one, but neutral B will also connect. The up B will actually get him back to the stage, and Geo now is being lapped at percent 102, and maybe a chance here. Oh, Flare Blitz back, gets the parry, forward air, won't take the stock quite yet. Rinse, repeat. No, this time he grabs the ledge.
Yeah, great spacing right there from Emba. Gets back on stage, and the 2 empty hops right there, baiting Geo to do something, anything, but Geo holds the resolve, and that gives him another edge guarding situation, another chance to finish off this stock, but the up smash on shield with full rage, that will do it. Emba sweeps through the competition and gives Delaware a dominant 2-0 to open up the Super Elite Division of the ECAC.
The Delaware Blue Hens are back. What a victory for them over Kean. A dominant one at that. Emba really put on a show here. Cleaned up that first set after Swift dropped 3, but took out most of the team in the opener. And then Emba cleaned it up. And here, able to go through the entire lineup. Came down to the last stock. Got a little bit scary, but was able to clutch things out. So Emba looking very strong, Delaware looking very strong, and a 2-0 victory is just what they were looking for here in week number 1.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. A good showing from both teams, especially Kean in that first one. Geo, I'm excited to see how they fare down in the Elite Division if they do end up there, but it is going to be Delaware staying in Super Elite, possibly getting a rematch with Fisher later on in the season. So it's going to be an exciting spring split of the ECAC. But for now, that's all we got for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I have been Keelan Miles. This has been Soy. I hope you all have a wonderful night. Take it easy out there.